Welcome to Explain the Charts, everyone, and thank you for joining us on September 24th, 2025, for a crucial deep dive into Litecoin, symbol LTCUSD. The crypto world is buzzing with activity surrounding Litecoin, and recent news suggests a significant tug-of-war between bullish catalysts and underlying market weaknesses. One of the biggest headlines is the potential approval of a Litecoin exchange-traded fund, or ETF. Just last week, on September 18th, the SEC approved a standardized framework for crypto ETFs, and analysts now put the likelihood of a Litecoin ETF approval by year-end 2025 at a staggering 95%, which could inject hundreds of millions in institutional capital. Adding to this institutional interest, Nasdaq-listed MEI Pharma committed $100 million to LTC reserves back on July 20th, with Litecoin creator Charlie Lee joining their board, solidifying LTC's credibility as a reserve asset. However, it's not all smooth sailing. While network activity shows robust growth with daily transactions surging past 300 million and a record hash rate on September 20th, LTC's price is still a notable 70% below its 2021 peak. Furthermore, a new challenger called Remedix is gaining significant traction with its utility-focused project, reportedly drawing investor sentiment away from transactional coins like Litecoin, which could be a long-term concern. Today's price sits around $106, stabilizing after a recent breakdown, and this is where our charts come into play. Let's head over to the daily chart to see how these events have been reflected in price action. Looking at the daily chart, we can observe Litecoin's journey over the past year, marked by periods of volatility and significant trend shifts. A notable plunge occurred around early August 2024, when LTC dipped significantly, hitting a low of nearly $49 before a strong recovery. This recovery laid the groundwork for a substantial rally in late 2024, particularly in November and early December, which we'll zoom into shortly. This period of upward momentum saw Litecoin breaking past the $100 mark with considerable volume. Following this rally, the price experienced sharp corrections in December 2024 and January 2025, often pulling back significantly after reaching new local highs, suggesting strong profit-taking pressure at elevated levels. The subsequent period in March and April 2025 saw LTC trading in a more range-bound fashion, hovering mostly between $80 and $110, coinciding with the news about Remedix challenging Litecoin's market position, indicating investor uncertainty. However, institutional commitments like MEI Pharma's in July 2025 likely fueled the upward trend leading into August 2025, pushing LTC back towards the $130 level, although these gains were once again met with resistance. Now, let's narrow our focus to the impactful rally we saw from November to early December 2024, a time when early ETF discussions likely started building momentum. In this zoomed-in view of the daily chart, from early November to early December 2024, you can clearly see Litecoin's impressive ascent, jumping from the $70 range to briefly touch nearly $140. This aggressive buying phase highlights how initial speculation and positive sentiment surrounding potential ETF approvals can rapidly drive prices upwards, especially when breaking through key psychological barriers like $100. The significant volume accompanying this rally further reinforces the strong interest and capital inflows during this period. However, notice the sharp pullback immediately after reaching its peak around $139, which is a classic, by the rumor, sell the news reaction or simple profit-taking. This volatility underscores the importance of managing risk, even amidst strong bullish narratives. The $100 level, once a resistance, quickly became a crucial support zone, which was tested during this correction. Now, let's examine the more recent price action, particularly the last few days on the 15-minute chart, which directly relates to today's news about LTC stabilizing around $105 after a breakdown. Shifting to the 15-minute chart, we can observe the immediate aftermath of the breakdown that occurred on September 22, 2025. The price was trading around the $114 level, forming what news reports described as a symmetrical triangle before a decisive break to the downside. This move pushed Litecoin sharply down, with a low print near $103 before recovering quickly back to the $105 to $106 range, confirming buying interest at these deeper levels. This rapid price discovery and subsequent stabilization around $105 aligns perfectly with the news that Litecoin found support and managed to hold above the critical $100 psychological level. This resilience after a sharp drop is an important signal, as an oversold relative strength index, or RSI, and bullish divergence in the money flow index, or MFI, are now hinting at a potential short-term recovery. Broadening our view to the 1-hour chart over the past few days, we see that Litecoin has been consolidating in the $105 to $107 range. This consolidation after the sharp drop suggests that the initial selling pressure has subsided, and buyers are stepping in to maintain this key support zone. The current quiet period could be the calm before another storm, as the market awaits further developments on the ETF front and broader market sentiment. Notice the relatively lower trading volume during this consolidation, indicating that neither buyers nor sellers are currently dominating the price action significantly. This neutrality points to the indecisive market mentioned in some news reports, where macro bulls and technical traders are taking opposing positions. In terms of future outlook, there are compelling reasons to be both bullish and bearish on Litecoin, depending on various conditions. Bullish case: the strongest driver for the short to medium term is the extremely high probability of an ETF approval by October or year-end 2025, which could unlock significant institutional inflows and push prices towards $150 and potentially $200, especially if it breaks key resistance levels. Technical indicators like the oversold RSI breaking its downtrend and a bullish MFI divergence also support a relief rally from current levels, targeting $120 initially. Furthermore, Litecoin's robust network, faster transaction times, and lower fees continue to make it an attractive alternative for peer-to-peer transactions. Bearish case: conversely, a failure to secure ETF approval or significant delays could lead to considerable downside pressure. Technical resistance at $115.24 and $120 could prove difficult to breach, and a rejection could see LTC slide back towards the critical $100 and even $82.93 support levels. The increasing competition from utility-focused altcoins like Remedix also poses a long-term challenge to Litecoin's market share and narrative. Broader market weakness, as cited in recent reports, and Bitcoin's own price movements will continue to exert influence, as seen in the recent 7.7% weekly drop. For traders, careful monitoring of Bitcoin's price action and overall crypto market sentiment is paramount, as LTC often follows its larger counterpart. Recapping the important price levels for LTCUSD, the current support holding strong is around the $105 mark, with deeper support at $102 and $100 being critical psychological and technical floors. On the upside, immediate resistance lies around $115.24, followed by $120, and then the more significant targets of $147.55 and $150. The highly anticipated $200 breakout for 2025, driven by ETF approval, has about a 95% likelihood if analyst estimates hold true, reinforced by sustained institutional inflows and positive market momentum. However, a failure to decisively break above $120, particularly if accompanied by increased selling volume, would weaken the bullish narrative and increase the probability of a retest of lower support levels. Things to look for include the SEC's final decision on pending Litecoin ETF applications in October, any further institutional announcements, and continued growth in Litecoin's network metrics. Keep a close eye on Bitcoin's performance, as its movements heavily influence altcoins, and watch for any significant whale movements, as large deposits to exchanges can signal impending selling pressure. Thank you for watching Explain the Charts, and we'll see you next time for more in-depth market analysis.